Okay, last exercise on divs. We're going to be going back to our career site, and in this exercise, we're basically going to separate the content in our site. Okay, so first we're going to need to copy over the code from lesson 3. Then we are going to break up our homepage. So the divs that we're adding are the div around the header. Okay, it's going to have the class header. Then we're going to have a content div and a footer div. So everything that's in the center is going to be in the content, and then the link at the bottom will be in the footer. For the style sheet, we're going to add a rule for the header that's going to give it a solid border and a background color. We're going to add a rule for the content so that it's 80% by 70%, also same background color as the body. And then the footer is going to have the same background color as the body, which we're going to change in the next lessons. So for now, let's just follow this. And finally, we're going to remove the background color that we originally had for the body, and we're going to replace it with a background image. So this was the example for the paleontology site. It has this kind of seashell fossil thing going on in the background. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first thing I'm going to need to do, remember, is go back and get that code that we worked on. In the last exercise, last time we worked on this, we added in some job information. Remember, we used the OneNet site, or the ONet site. Sorry, I keep calling it OneNet. Okay, to add in some job information. So make sure that you do have the most updated site in here. Okay, so that is the home page. Next, let's copy over the job info page. This is basically what we worked on updating last time. And it's helpful to be working in different tabs. So again, right click and open in a new tab so you don't have to scroll back and forth. You can just kind of jump between the tabs. Okay, and then finally, our style sheet. Okay, so we should have our full site now. Let's go ahead and run that, make sure it looks good, job information. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got everything we need. Let's go ahead and close out that other tab now. Next, we're going to add 3 divs to each of our HTML pages. Okay, so we actually are going to do this for the home page and the job info page. Okay, so I'm going to start with the home page first. So the first one is going to be div with the class equal to header. Remember, this needs to kind of be sandwiched. I keep using that analogy. Slice on top, slice on bottom. So make sure you're moving those closing tags to the back. Okay, next we're gonna put our content in the middle. So div class equal to content. Okay, and then finally the link at the bottom. Just space this out so it's easier to read. Also tab in your content. Okay, this is going to be the footer class. So div class equal to footer. Finally, I'm going to move that closing tag to the back. All right, that should be good for the home page. Now let's go ahead and work on the job info page. Same thing. We're going to put in a div for the header. Okay. We're going to also add one for the content. This page has a little bit more content, so make sure you are putting that closing div in the right place. It should be at the end of that iframe tag. Okay, and then finally, your footer div. Okay, great. So that wraps up the HTML, I believe. Now let's go ahead and style it in CSS. So in the CSS, our next rule is going to be the .header class, and it will have a border style of solid. So border style, solid, and background color that the body has. So I'm just going to steal that from the body rule. Okay, the content class is also going to have that background color, so we can put that there as well. It's going to have a height of 80%, and a width of 70%. All right, last but not least, the footer class. Also same background color as the body. That's all we need there. And then finally, for the body, we're going to delete the background color we have now, and we're going to replace it with background image. So you could choose an image that's related to your career. Okay, since I'm focusing on my digital content YouTube channel, I'm gonna just go to images and search YouTube. All right, maybe I'll put the logo or something like that. Okay, this might work well. Let's see if we can copy image address, and you want to set it up like this. So background image is the property, the value is going to be URL, and then in quotes, you are going to put the URL to your image. Now, let me make sure I have my semicolon. Okay, so I was just checking to see if I had my semicolon. All right, I'm going to paste that back in. Let me run that and see what it looks like. All right. Technically it works, but visually it's a little distracting. Okay, so you might need to test this out before you actually put it in. All right, I don't know if I would stick with this long term just because it's just a little distracting to the eye, but feel free to test different images out, okay? And if it's too much or too busy, change it. If you like it, keep it. If your image is small, too small to fill up the whole background, you'll notice that it does this kind of effect. This is called tiling, where you see the same image repeated over and over and over, just like you would on a bathroom tile or kitchen tiles. Okay, this is something that you can fix in CSS, but for now, don't be too concerned about it. If your image in the Sorry, excuse those sirens. Okay, so if your background images are tiling, don't worry about that for now. All right, the focus of this lesson was getting our divs in place, which we did. All right, you can see the three divs are divided here. Same thing for the job info. You have the content, the header, and the footer. And I know it's hard to tell, but your header does have a border that's solid. It's just my background image is dark. Okay, so that wraps up the lesson 4 on divs. Nice work, everyone. We'll be moving on to lesson 5 next. Good job.